marriage street, like Tokwe will say.
Yeah.
Very interesting conversation from yesterday, actually. We had this conversation on our group yesterday where we talked about this instance that kind of like went viral on social media. Yeah. There happened to be this situation where the wife of a military officer who got gunned down by bandits somewhere in the north actually married her brother-in-law, now her husband, and people got talking and saying, hey, what is this? Why is it such a thing? Is it a tradition? You know, under what situation? Was it under duress? Yeah. So we were actually talking about the fact that, and I said this, that in certain parts of the country and in certain cultures, it is a thing where if you lose a husband, a brother could get married to you. I thought it was just, hey, as long as it's not under duress, it's okay.
Before we talk about this issue, we need to talk about the fact that finally it has been signed into law that women can inherit.
Yes.
So let's put that on our side.
Good.
Yeah. The issue most times has always been women come with whatever their fathers bestow upon them, which automatically becomes their husbands. Yeah. And so a woman usually does not own anything. It usually goes to her sons and hardly ever her daughters. Yeah. So those factors are already the problems on ground. And so when, for example, as you said, the military guy died, they were supposed to get married this month. And so it was a case of conversion. Maybe her father has paid the bride price and all, because that's what I was suggesting, that maybe the bride price might have been like, say, 2 or 10 cows. The father has paid it, and the family probably has traded it, or they're already using it for something, so they will be reluctant, and they're like, if you like this guy,
well, the way you put it makes it sound like a transaction, so which in that case
makes marriage a transaction.
It's not a transaction. It shouldn't be a transaction between families or parties.
But
it
is
be
now
between individuals. So that's where I have a question. But you were trying to say.
So the issue is, for many families, sending a daughter to get married is supposed to be it's not just joy for the family, it's also supposed to be some kind of relief for the family as well. Sometimes the family has to save a lot of money in order to even,
take loans even.
Send the bride on her way. And it depends on her obligation to that family. Who knows, she might be the only one that's educated, she might be the only child, she might be, there's so many different factors that might have connected those two families, and if she feels obligated, she might just make that decision that, you know what, this...
I'll tell you one thing. I do have an instance in mind where as a kid, I know a friend. I had a friend who used to be confused as to what to call his father, because his father was also his uncle, his stepfather in this case, because his father died and his uncle had to get married to his mother. The older we got, and then he started to explain the reason why she absolutely had to, because if she hadn't, then she would have been left with nothing, like you said.
With nobody to care for her.
Nobody to care for her.
In most traditions, you can't go back to your father's house.
I don't know if this is still a tradition in Nigeria, whether it's an enforcement, because that's what it seemed like back then in the 80s, like she was really forced to.
Women are usually put in impossible situations.
It's not just in Africa, it happens all over the world. Different cultures have different ways of doing it, but the truth is, joining of families often has more than just one goal in mind. It's not just love.
Beneficial.
It's supposed to be beneficial. So what if she has like 4 younger siblings who want to go to school, and that family has already promised, you know what, your siblings will go to school if your daughter joins our family. There's just so many things to think about.
Women have always been used as a sort of legal tender. You're having war situation. You see a girl from another tribe being married to maybe the king, the princess from another tribe being married to the king, so there can be peace between the countries.
Exception to some of the things that you said, even if you're just actually stating the obvious. But it makes it seem like as if women are put in such a vulnerable situation in Nigeria, and it's a culture because it's accepted.
No, she did not say Nigeria alone, and we are not even talking. It's all over the world. So I'm sure you read books about.
No, I don't read.
English,
I'm joking.
English literature, for example. Of course. When you talk of an average wedding, so this guy is a lord of a manor, and he happens to be in love with a particular lady, but she doesn't have anything to bring into their marriage. So what does he do? He ends up marrying someone who is maybe the child of a squire, has a lot of money to bring into the marriage, and then so he marries that one, then probably keeps the other one as a concubine. Exactly. So it's actually been like that. I feel like for ages, women have been disadvantaged. And that's why I'm so happy that nowadays things are changing. Women can work, they can own their things. I find you even hear stories of men being angry because their wives are hiding properties from them. And I'm like, you need to check out the lady's background before you get really upset. You don't know where she's coming from.
Now, pause, rewind. It makes you see why the individual from yesterday's conversation, the guy who was querying the blogger for buying a car for her father, would actually think so.
Exactly.
Because to him...
But I wanted
what do you have? You don't have a husband.
I wanted to speak to some of the comments that came up after that post, really speaking low.
The post from yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this lady might not have had a choice, like people are making it seem. And I would like, people to just pull back, step back, and have maybe a wider world view of the reason why she might have made that decision, and not just judge her for it.
Yeah, we're not in a situation.
Does anyone ever choose what happens to them in life?
You just never know. You just never know.
Do we ever?
Well, interesting conversation. If you've got comments, please do, of course, go up on our handles. We're at TVC Connect, or just make a comment and make sure you use the hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC. We'd like to know what you think. We've got some social media conversation coming for after, very interesting ones. Do stay tuned. We'll get to let you guys in on all of that. We'll be back.